Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dots and Loops follow-up. Dots and Loops by Stereolab. I have not listened to Cobra and Phase's group play Voltage in the Milky Night yet, so I can't really compare that to this at all. But kind of looking back at the previous discography, Transient is, I think, one of my favorites because it's the most cohesive rock attempt that they've done. As far as like the genre of the album, it's much more of a post-rock kind of album. And then with Mars Audiac Quintet and Emperor Tomato Ketchup, those two are a little bit messier. I think Emperor Tomato Ketchup is a little bit superior to Mars in terms of cohesiveness with the genres. But with Dots and Loops, I think this is their most cohesive kind of lounge, easy listening, art pop, space age pop kind of effort. So Dots and Loops and Transient are really close to me, for me, in terms of what my favorite is, because they both do those two things very well. Transient is the better rock album. This is the better pop album. But just going through track by track, Brackage and Miss Modular, I think, is a great way to start the album. It really sets the tone well. And you get to hear that brass, that brass section come in, and it really bolsters the album. It really highlights the genres that they're working with here. That goes into Flower Called Nowhere. I got into a little bit of trouble because I called that one a filler track, but I called it a good filler track, I think. Regardless, that is a very solid track. I do like it. I like the little kind of synth breakdown that happens about a little over halfway through. It just has a really nice tone to it. It's really hard to describe. Middle of the album, tracks 4 through 7, possibly even 8, are some of my least favorites, but that's not necessarily a knock on these tracks. Diagonals is probably one of my least favorites. Prisoner of Mars, I do enjoy the atmosphere of that album. That's the kind of stuff that I think Mars was attempting to do, but they really kind of perfected it here. Mars Audiac Quintet, that is, not Prisoner of Mars, the song. Rainbow Conversation, nice little simple track. Refractions in the Plastic Pulse, I really grapple with their long tracks. Like with Jenny Audio Line, and then you have this one here. It just feels like 3 or 4 tracks stitched together, and it's kind of bizarre. Although I do like the last half. The last half of the Refractions track is quite nice. I do like it. Parsec is okay. I dig the beat, although I dig the beat more on Ticker Tape of the Unconscious. That's where the 90s is really starting to shine through on some of those tracks. And then Contra Natra, I really dig that one too. I like how it kind of pulls away, and then when it comes back in, the like kind of the bass beat in there. You got the bass and you got the beat, a little bit of synth. Really nice, simple way to close out the album. So yeah, I dig this thing. It's not the type of music I'll come back to often, but like this is nice, like kind of like space age kind of pop for me. And it does have that art pop, easy listening vibe. It is very cohesive front to back. More cohesive, I think, than maybe even Transient, which might put a little bit above Transient for me. I'm not sure. It all kind of depends on my mood and what I want to listen to at the time as far as which Stereolab album I will pull for. And that has been my follow-up to Dots and Loops, a fantastic album from Stereolab. Thank you guys so much for watching. Godspeed.